Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Mouth of the Tyne, Full-Tyne Whistle. Joined, as always, by Neil and Elliot tonight. Thanks for joining me again tonight, guys.
Please
Great
have
to have you. Yeah, man. No Joe tonight. He's stuck on the M25 somewhere in traffic, but I'm sure we'll do our best. Sorry?
How did he get on? Did they win?
I don't know. We'll get back to that one. Maybe he might join us later on. We'll ask him.
Hopefully.
But yeah, so yesterday, guys, Halloween horror show for the Villa, but the tune win Dreamland. We smashed Aston Villa 4-0. Another fantastic performance. Not so much in the first half, but that was probably down to Villa's tactics. But we'll get onto that in a second. But the second half, absolutely sensational football being played, which we're becoming more used to as the weeks go by. It's becoming the norm. The bar has been set. The standard has been raised, and this is what we produce week in, week out now. Seems like every time we do one of these shows, recently we've been singing the praises of the team. Nobody's been, less than 8 out of 10 every game. Everyone's hitting them levels. The injuries have cleared up. We're fourth in the league. We were nearly third, apart from a late Spurs equaliser. That kind of soured it slightly, but not too much. You can't complain. We have the best defence in the league. We have the third best goal difference in the league. We're on fire. Let's be honest. We're blowing teams away.
Unbelievable. We're
winning comfortably week in, week out. And we're just hitting this purple patch where everything just seems to be going perfectly.
Yeah. So and it's such a weird feeling to say all of those. We're playing really well. We're getting used to playing really well. We've got the third best goal difference in the league. We've conceded less goals than anyone else in the league. It's really weird, but actually it's really weird being normal. It's a nice feeling to have.
Yeah.
It's a champagne problem.
We're getting used to it.
Yeah, but we're not all. I don't know if anyone saw Trips' interview earlier on today, but we'll talk about the game in a little bit. I'm sure Ben will get us onto it, but
yeah,
I notice it every single match where we're playing well, and there'll be a time in every single game where I'll turn around and I'll say to my lad, "It's not quite clicking for us yet. Our passes are a little bit astray, and we're not getting our screens in properly. We're not tackling properly. It's not quite right. It's not clicking." And for every single game, it's felt like for a period of the game, we're not clicking, and then all of a sudden, it's around the 50th minute to the 80th minute, we just click.
It goes up and up.
Yeah. Exactly. But there's periods of that game where actually we're not at full capacity. We're making mistakes. Imagine what it's going to be like when we're actually on it from the word go.
We're still hearing that week in, week out that we're not firing on all cylinders. And you're thinking, like, if that's not firing on all cylinders, what is?
Yeah. They must see it though, Ben, Elliot. They must see it in training. They must see how seamlessly they're playing together. And then when it's not quite clicking on the pitch, they're turning around and saying, "There's more from us to come." Yeah. And we're just sitting there with our mouths open, watching the match, like the second half yesterday, thinking, "This is great." I mean, I was getting pelters from my missus yesterday because I tried to get tickets. It was my lad's birthday, and I could only get 2 tickets in 2 separate sections. So I thought, we won't sit all together. Well, I won't do that for the birthday. We won't go. And she just turned around to me. Bearing in mind, she's a West Brom fan that's now a Newcastle fan. Right? Right. Absolutely adores them. St. Maximin's a favourite player. She sits next to me and watches the matches. She's not been interested in football at all for years. Now she's loving it. And she's like, "We should have gone. The atmosphere is amazing. We missed out. That's your fault." Yeah. And I was like, "Yep, you're right."
Get her up to the next one. That's
what you got to the next one, mate. But yeah, good game.
It was fantastic. And like I say, the first half, very much just to expand on the point you made there, Neil, by saying like things weren't quite clicking. I said the same to the guy I was sat next to at the stadium. We were in the Gallagher, and I was saying, this is going to be a tricky game. I thought Villa started very well. They were very... Villa's tactics reminded us very much of our own tactics. I felt as if they were doing a high press, and they were hassling us and hurrying us, and it was like they were trying to play us at our own game. I thought that was very noticeable, especially for the first 20, 30 minutes. and it was working. It was putting us under pressure. And then I think also there was an element of time waste and tactics. Although Martinez did go off injured, which obviously there was a concussion there. At first it appeared it was time wasting. What was definitely time wasting was it Buendia or is he West Ham? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, no, it's Buendia.
Yeah, Buendia. I always get him and the other guy mixed up. But there was a challenge happened in our box, and I can't remember who clashed into him, but he went down. And it was it the great challenge from Byrne?
Yeah, and he's holding his knee.
Yeah, it was. I saw it happen, and I thought, oh, here we go. Like he stayed down for about maybe must have been 5, 6, 7 minutes, something like that, and then he just got up, ran around the side of the pitch, was very aware of the crowd watching him and booing him. Seemed to be having a little bit of a jog just to kind of like, get at the crowd a bit. And he just literally walked around the pitch and ran straight back on. You're thinking that could not have been that bad. You expect a couple of minutes, cheeky little kind of, rest and, waste a bit of time. But it was about 6, 7 minutes for an injury that clearly wasn't an injury. And we were saying the Martinez injury was rattling the crowd, especially when he went down the second time. And the Buendia one as well was the same. It just seemed like the crowd had enough. We'd been in there for about, it was about 35 minutes by this point, was getting on towards halftime, and we hadn't actually seen the ball in play for a very long period. No. It felt like the game was completely passing us by. Did you notice that, Elliot, as well? Were you aware of this kind of Villa tactics, or what was your take on it?
Yeah, I think it's quite funny because we absolutely love it when we do that kind of thing, and I think it's quite. I hate Villa, so I'm really biased that I can't stand them. But I think if you look at that first half in particular, I think Martinez. I was frustrated watching it, but I think if you look back at it now, I think it's just really poor from the medical staff. I don't think he should have been allowed to continue playing. He was clearly rattled. They need to pay attention to those kind of concussion instances a lot more, because the ref will blow up if there's a head injury. There needs to be the right due diligence to make sure that it's not in a position where somebody could end up seriously hurting themselves. Because what if he got?
He didn't look right.
He didn't at all. Yeah. But I think talking about the first half in general, Villa did try. But they're not as organised. They're not as organised. They're not as strong. They're not as physical. Do you know, my dad sent me an amazing text yesterday. I'm going to quote him, actually, funnily enough.
Go for
it. He texted me saying, "We're becoming absolutely horrible to play against. Our pressing some of the best I've ever seen. Utterly relentless. 80% of what we're doing is coached. We seem to be a hybrid of early Allardyce Bolton in terms of the fact that we're strong and athletic, with Premier League physicality, and the same as kind of early Dortmund with some really technically gifted, speedy attackers. He isn't wrong when he says intensity is their thing. This could be incredible." And I think he's spot on.
I think your dad knows his football.
Yeah.
Where do I get my noggin from, Ben?
Well, that's it.
I think the thing is, I kind of have seen the frustration in him. Obviously, the reason I love this club is because of him. And the way that he's talking about it now is spot on, because if you look at the beginning, towards the end of that first half, we started to gain a bit of control. And then it was just totally relentless after that. Totally relentless.
Yeah. I completely agree about the Dortmund piece. It actually, ironically, due to all the bad luck he's having at the moment, the 7-year curse, reminded me of Klopp's Dortmund with, two players pressing at all times, the athletic number 8, trying to win the individual battles in possession in midfield, and trying to put the defense under pressure. It was interesting, and I think the Villa tactics, Elliot, you were spot on, and Ben as well. What they were doing was, Martinez wasn't right. And it's a shame, he wasn't right, and you could see he wasn't, and he still wanted to try and carry on, but he should have been taken off. He should have really been taken off. And then Olsen should have known the first time when Des went down to be strapped up and ready. That was frustrating for me, because he should have had everything ready just in case. But it seemed like a lot of their injuries were trying to interrupt the play, stop the flow. They didn't want to string in two passes together. We couldn't find a black and white shirt in the first half. It was just ridiculous for at least.
It was so stop-start, wasn't it? Even
for the first 40 minutes into the 50th minute, they were all right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, even when Olsen came on, he walked on very, very slowly, started chatting to one of his teammates about the weather or something like that. You know, it was like, he was just like, obviously, he was chatting tactics, but, you know, it was like, they could have been chatting about anything. They were just like, and everyone was like, can you just get your ass into goal? There's a football match to play here. Like, it just felt like the whole thing was like,
was screaming at the TV. I was just so frustrated by the time wasting, and the referee allowing it. By 40 minutes, I'd never been this frustrated this season as I was, and I thought possibly it's going to be one of those games because they're not very good and they're trying to press us. They are not really playing to the press, but they're managing to get through and attack us on the break, especially through Bailey. I mean, he had some scary moments down the left hand side, and he had Trippier in a bit of a bind as well. But they were very good at allowing their own passenger play, but interrupting our flow. And it just felt as if they knew that if they didn't allow us to kind of just keep ticking things over, keep recycling the ball, keep moving it around, and then doing those long diagonal balls to catch them out, which is what we're doing to break the lines really, really well. They keep us at bay.
Neil, it's always we overload the left-hand side to create space on the right every single time.
So good.
And, I mean, our more technical players are on the right-hand side. We rely on Trippier so heavily in terms of what he brings. But the work rate for the rest of the team, I saw it broken down really nicely on Twitter. I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was. It might have actually been Sanjay. I think it might have been.
He's so good.
He's so some great threads.
So good. Yeah, shout out to Sanjay.
Yeah, for sure. I love that guy. His threads. Oh my god. But
and Prem panel are pretty good as well.
Yeah, they really are. But
well, we might have some news on those in the next few weeks. Raj, I'll keep stumped for now. Maybe something in the pipeline.
I think that it was talking about how selfless the runners are on the left hand side. So you have Joe Linton would feed a ball into Willock and then he'd make a run, and then you see it was like the whole of Villa's defense would pull, and then it would be just a ball back to somebody, whoever it was behind him. It might have been Byrne, might have been Bruno Longstaff, and it's just ping into Trippier, bombs forward. You've got Almiron making a run. You've got Wilson causing havoc in the middle. Tyrone Mings could not handle him yesterday.
I hate Villa and I hate him.
So do I. But I think special man of the match was...
my boss is a Villa fan. Can't wait to go in tomorrow morning.
I bet you can. Oh, my God. Ask him whether he's... ask him what he thinks of Gabby Bongo. But, yeah, and then Botman was my man of the match yesterday. Obviously, Wilson scored the goals, but Botman...
every week.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah.
He didn't put a foot wrong.
So
Trips was mine because of how integral he is.
Yeah.
A lot goes through Bruno. A huge amount goes through Bruno, and he keeps things ticking along. But actually, Trips does that a lot as well. A hell of a lot. And he's just so good on the ball. I thought he was just good at free kicks, but the amount of assists that guy has got.
He's got a lovely delivery. Absolutely fantastic.
So beautiful. I mean, that the first goal is a penalty all day. Let's be honest, it was a penalty all day. And I couldn't ask for a nicer bloke to give away a penalty. I don't like Ashley Young either. I saw him at the Belfry earlier on this year with a couple of fans asking for his autograph in Villa shirts, and he just walked past them. I couldn't believe it.
They were very unlikable side.
Yeah, massively. But beautiful penalty. But that second goal had everything. It had our set pieces. It had Tyndall written all over it. Our set pieces, our guile, our desire to win. You know, the cleverness and work off the ball and running in behind of Wilson, which he's very good at. And technically, it's a great header off the post. Keep us nowhere near it. Beautiful.
It was fantastic. I was right down that end in the Gallagher, so I got to see it nice close up. And at first they took it short, the corner short, and so obviously Trippier and Miggy linking up again. But the little back heel from Miggy, if you watch it, Trips actually looks like he's going infield. And then right at the last second, he changes. And I think this is planned. I think this was what the plan was.
Yeah.
And then Miggy's on the same wavelength. So as Trips goes that way, Miggy does the back heel, and then Trips at the same time goes round the other side, the outside, does a lovely floated ball in, and Wilson with a classic header, which we know he's capable of.
Howe said afterwards, didn't he, in his interview, that it was something that he was careful. He checked himself, didn't he? Because he said it's something that we've worked on for a long time, or he's done quite repetitively. But it's so satisfying when that kind of stuff works. I think it's just
we're seeing it a lot, and there's a lot of variation as well. We're seeing with the
Bruno's goal
I'm loving those little. I'm sorry. What you're going to say? I think I was just going to say the same thing. I'm loving those little passes.
Seems to be a stray runner. No, that's what I was going to say. Just always.
And we've talked about this every single week for the past couple of months. Teams know it's coming. They know Bruno's going to do the little dink ball over the top to find Miggy, and yet they still can't stop it. We've said it every week, and someone mentioned it on Twitter earlier today, and I was saying, look, teams know it's coming, but it's so well executed, it's so pinpoint that they just can't stop it.
They know they're being pulled out of position, but they can't do anything about it. And we're not just that diagonal long ball as well. I am loving these. There's a really great account that mentioned it earlier on today. Mouth of the Tyne, I don't know if you heard of him, but he was talking about these little passenger play where we're doing multiple back heels in passenger play, and it is just so great to see. Like the little back heel for the goal was great, but it's as if we're showboating, but we're doing it with purpose.
We are. There's no kind of Anthony bullshit stuff about how we play. There's none. It's just obviously we've seen Maxi do a little jig, but it's very much.
Even he's laying it off.
Yeah, but there's purpose, and
it's like mid attack, isn't it? It's like
right out of trouble to find space. It's always just. But the thing is, I think that my favourite one yesterday was Trippier's little kind of. And it was.
I don't even know what do you call that move. I was kind of googling
it's like a heel flip thing. It was
sweet. The trip shot.
The trip shot. Well done. I think
it's like a back heel nutmeg type of thing. It's absolutely brilliant.
Great. It shows how confident they are. But the confidence to the side. Murphy.
Oh my God. He caused
how many balls into the box
when he came on?
They hated him.
Yeah, he caused chaos.
He did.
Totally.
And the thing is, I've been.
And I didn't want him to come on. I was like, why not Maxi? Yeah.
I've been very critical of Murphy in the past. I think everybody has been. And by no means do I think he's the key to our project for years to come. But I think the way that Howe's got every single player. Another example I think's gone missing because of his injury. I think people forgot how well he got Kraft playing. I think. That's another one. Like if you look at Kraft, Murphy, Almiron, Joe Linton, Longstaff, we're seeing the kind of potential that we thought he had under Rafa.
How much ground did he cover yesterday?
Oh my God!
And he moved the ball on quickly.
One pass yesterday worried me, but the rest of it, I thought he was just flawless.
And he learned from his mistakes, mate. Remember the one time he didn't cross the ball in quick enough, and then the next time he was in that position, he whipped it in.
Yeah,
really good.
Unreal.
Sorry, mate.
It's. Do you know, I do think, though, that our third goal almost epitomised everything. Was it our third goal? Joe Linton was 3, wasn't he? Yeah, he was.
The rebound.
The
one that started on the edge of our box.
Yeah, but it was the fact is, Bruno won the ball back into Trippier. Trippier put us in some horrible position, and then Bruno does what Bruno does and wins the ball back in a way that could have potentially won us a foul. Plays the ball forward, and it's all of a sudden, boom, like we're in. And don't get me wrong, I think it probably could have been a little bit cleaner. I think the pass from Wilson should have gone out to Joey first time, but I think the way it ended up, I mean, there was a cut back into Wilson. Wilson got a shot off. Yeah, probably could have been better, but then Joe Linton was there and he kept running. Yeah. And mean, I'm gutted he's out next week, but I think it's, as we said, I think it gives a few opportunities. If we just do a straight swap, it means that we obviously bring Maxi in off the left. But I mean, it depends. If Shelvey's fit, then I think our midfield is more balanced with Bruno, Shelvey sitting, and then whoever it is to roam. Longstaff looks good when he plays as an 8. So
yeah, Longstaff's really improving. I've been a harsh critic of Longstaff. Just to touch on here what Kenny's saying, it's coaching at the top level. It's creating these ridiculously created goals that Miggy has given us. And yeah, I think Howe has to take some credit for giving these players the form that they're in. He's done it with so many players now. We've seen it with Shea, who's got his form back. Joe Linton, the obvious one. Kraft, Miggy. Like, the list goes on. It's becoming like...
It's the whole squad near enough.
Yeah, it's the whole squad. It's all the players that were here before that had been bruised and now thriving under Howe. But yeah,
which is surprising that Lewis hasn't picked up.
That's what we were saying.
It's just really surprising that Jamal Lewis hasn't, because he's got a good athleticism. He's fast. He had decent technical ability before we brought him, and I'm just surprised that Lewis hasn't kicked on, because but it might be the next one. I mean, Miggy's the obvious one, because you can see what they've tried to do with Miggy, give him more confidence and say you need to get in more goal scoring positions, because the Miggy of last season wouldn't have been in those goal scoring positions.
They inverted him,
and then trust in your confidence, get him a regular position in the side, trust in your ability, and shoot and score. And they've improved on his finishing as well. I think before we came on, Elliot, you were talking about how it's his placement of the ball and the weight of the ball of his shots. He doesn't smash it. He's just...
I don't think his legs could smash it, is the main thing. But also, I mean, you look at the timing for the goal against Spurs, the placement for the goal yesterday. I mean, the outrageous kind of the volley that he scored that was just off the outside of his boot was just
leaning back.
I think the thing about him is, I think we're all really happy for him because of how hard he works, and he has done since the day he arrived. But I think now what he's added to his game, alongside confidence, is, Neil, you mentioned, just a subtle change in position. He's not hugging the touchline anymore because we want that space out wide for Trippier. It's very much kind of, he plays between the right back and the left-sided centre back.
Yeah,
always the left back and the left-sided centre back. Sorry,
and I think it suits him. It suits perfect. How he plays.
He's not too far out wide. He's not in a position where he can't do anything. I mean, if you're being fed the ball inside the penalty area, just to the right hand side, and you're in a position where you can wrap your left foot around it, this is confident foot. By no means does he have a wand of a right foot as well. We know that, but he started using it. I mean,
he did try and take a shot with his right foot, didn't he? When he laid it, when he teed it up beautifully with his left, and then took the shot with his right. I was surprised that he did that.
That would have been a Miggy collector's item. That one.
Yeah, I was hoping he was just going to stab out his left and try and score with his left, but he wouldn't have done that last year, Elliot.
Just to jump in there, before I forget, I saw the analysis from Martin Keown last night on Match of the Day, and I loved the little kind of line what he gave when he said having a Almiron was a bad term, which obviously Grealish kind of coined over the summer. And it was like, if you're having an Almiron, you're having a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then Keown said this and then went on to say, well, now if you're having an Almiron, you're having a world beater, like you're having a stormer. And I just thought that was like, that is the ultimate, like, tale of two halves, like how you could switch it up in the space of, I don't know, less than 6 months since it was said. And like the form of the preseason, the form of the early start of the season when he wasn't scoring but still playing well. And the last few months, where he's added the goals. It's like
he scored like 14 goals, hasn't he, this year or something?
Yeah, 15 now. I keep updating the thread on Twitter.
If you include pre-season,
yeah. So like 15 goals in the whole calendar year now. That's for Paraguay and both in pre-season and in the Premier League. So I mean, that's for a winger, attacking midfielder, whatever you want to call Miggy, and it's not particularly renowned for scoring masses of goals. To score 15 so far in a calendar year, and we would have probably finished off with maybe 20 if we're going to have the gap for the World Cup. Let's say 20 calendar, goals in a calendar year is something that's, for a wide player, is something that's up there with the best in the world. That's what we were looking to find in the summer, and we don't have to.
His goal numbers are up there. He's scored more goals than some of the best players in the world. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Miguel Almiron could be spoken about like he's that player. His output's fantastic, but I think it's funny because I mean, if you look at our last 6 games, we've scored 4 or more goals in 3 of them. I mean, the output from the whole team. Wilson looks bang on form.
And fit as well.
Oh my god,
he doesn't look like he's made out of glass at the moment.
Doesn't look
like no, he doesn't, which is strange. And he's played like the 3 games in a week last week. Then this one's it's like 4 in 14 days or something. I mean, that's a lot of games by Wilson standard to not have a.
And I just love I love the supreme. I mean, he's so alpha male, isn't he? I love the confidence of Wilson. Like he's just pure.
Yeah, the ladies, let's be honest, the wives and girlfriends love him, don't they? I'll have to say, so what's his name again? And it's like, that's Wilson, pet.
I put ear warmers on every single time he comes on the screen. I just don't want to hear it. It's the same with Botman. Botman looks like he's been flipping carved out of some
marble.
Marble. It's just
we've got a handsome looking team like Share.
We've got the best looking centre back pairing in world football.
It's so much for the ladies too, it's like and the guys if you're into that. But
that's how to increase the fan base and sell some shirts. It was great to wind up the Villa fans and shut up the Villa fans. And I was trying, I don't know why, I was being really naughty yesterday and trying to wind up a few. But they weren't biting, and they're being really nice. And I watched the match, and then I was taking my lad to watch Black Adam, and it's worth watching, guys. And we were on the way, and I said, I'm really disappointed. The Villa fans just aren't biting. They're being, you're a better team than us. And then I've ended up saying, oh, well, Emery will get you organised, and thinking I really want them to bite with the whole sub on the time. Grant Pringle deserves a medal.
He really does. I love
Grant. He's really coming into his own this season. He's always been good, but this season he's really coming into his own.
He's been the shackles have been let loose since the takeover happened.
The man who's just like, just tweet what you want, Grant. You're doing a great job. Just tweet what you want.
I think that's what they said.
It's funny.
Some of the time, I mean, I just thought, oh,
did you see the Bonglahorse deleted?
Yes. Did you hear him afterwards as well?
Yeah.
He's saying like, we're a couple of quality signings away from a serious Champions League contender. Like, you're right.
We're so lucky that Brentford didn't offer 10 grand less for Botman and Wilson.
No contest, Neil.
Bruno,
just to touch on here whilst we were talking about the right hand side from Islam saying as harsh as this may sound, adding Diaby on the right to complement Miggy would take us to another level. Obviously that's where Miggy's playing at the minute, so I don't know how that would work. But, I
don't know how he fits in that quadruple as well. I don't know, because he's a different on that right hand side now. We've got that inverted player in Miggy and Trips going wide, and we'd have to change. It'd be a different formation because I think I haven't seen a lot of him, Elliot. But does he like to hug the touchline a little bit more?
So Diaby's very much kind of attack the byline, and I mean he cuts in. He's a right-footed right winger. I mean he cuts in off his left. I think his goal output last year, a lot of it came from transition counter-attacks. If you look at his goals, he was on his right foot, shooting into the bottom left-hand corner. That was where his output came. Yeah. His assists were coming from right-hand sided crosses. But I was going to ask you actually, because we're talking about sort of come January. I mean, we're only 3 games away from it now. You're in a position where you look at it. In my mind, a right winger for me now is Summer. Yeah, I think because if I look at James Maddison's been playing an inverted role off the right for Leicester. James Maddison can also be a fantastic number 10. We know what he's capable of. I think the club love him, and I think they're going to go and get him. I think that's what we do.
I think we haven't got many options on the right, though, if you think about it.
Yeah, but this is the thing.
More options, definitely.
We've got more options on the left than we have on the right.
Maddison covers you for a 10 and for a right-sided winger. And, I mean, does Maddison come and play second fiddle to Almiron? No. Does Maddison come and walk into our midfield? That's more debatable. I don't think so. Because if you look at the midfield 3 and how we perform with Shelby coming back in, we've got wonderful balance when it's Shelby, Joe Linton, Bruno. That's our best midfield by a long way. Maddison off the right there adds something really good because you'd end up with overloads in central areas massively because he drifts, but then also he's got that ability to sort of cut in off the right, play really good first-time balls off his right foot as well.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's a tough question.
I think as well with the formation, what we're playing at the minute, it's very settled. But there may come a time, and it's very effective. But there may come a time when we need to switch it up and change up the formation, which then we need kind of these players like Maddison and Diaby just to change it up a bit, and like because things don't last forever, and you've got to kind of constantly tweak formations and improve personnel. And I hope this isn't just a purple patch for Miggy, and I hope this is like the new Miggy 2.0, somebody who's maybe at the peak of his career, a bit like Trossard now. I mean, Trossard is a player I'd love to sign too, but he's a similar age to Miggy, 27, 28, or 28 to coming up 29. These are players in their late 20s that weren't really. Yeah, Trossard's been talked about in the last couple of years in the Prem, but in his early years he wasn't that spectacular, decent player. But since he's come to the Prem, it's taken time for him to get him to this level where he's at now. I think Miggy's in the same kind of boat. But how long does it last? If they're 28, 29, is this going to last 4 years?
That's a great point as well, because that's what I was going to say. You've literally read my mind, Ben, because replying to your comments, Elliot, about getting Maddison in January, maybe Diaby in the summer.
Yeah,
I think one of the things that they're looking at over the next 2 transfer windows will be how do we get the average age of this squad down?
Yeah, for sure.
Because we've got some older players, so I think Ben, you're bang on, mate. I think they'll try and get. I think in the January transfer window they'll try and get a younger right back for right back cover because we are weak for a right back at the moment.
Yeah,
we're
Trips goes down, we're screwed.
Trips goes down, we're screwed.
Yeah.
And I think they want that lad from West Ham because I think he's going to be a really good replacement for Trips in the future. I think they're okay at left back at the moment, but if there's an option at left back because they want to try and improve that situation, they will. I'm kind of glad that Byrne got a little bit of time at centre back just to give Gareth Southgate something to think about yesterday. And I think that left hand side, that in Eddie's mind, even though he's got that relationship with the wee man, he's got to be thinking,
he needs to go.
My left hand side is weak. Fraser's got to go. Richie's got to go. We've got to have cover in the squad for those types of players. And possibly, even though we've been covered in midfield, will he want to get a younger defensive midfielder?
I think going back to what you said about Almiron, do you know I think we may have had a brief conversation about Darwin Núñez last season.
So glad
he massively overperformed his expected goals, and it's the same with Almiron. Almiron is massively overperforming his XG.
Yeah,
and if you look at expected goals, obviously you can't judge everything by that. I mean, there are games where we've been totally dominant, where our XG has been quite low, and we've deservedly run winners. So it's a tough metric to look at. But Almiron's scoring worldies. How long does he keep scoring worldies? This is the thing. It's like, is he going to
all season and the next season? Yeah, but
this is why I think if you look. So my 3 signings for me, Alvarez from Ajax, Maddison, and then Grimaldo. Yeah. Grimaldo played off the right six times last year as a right back. Okay. I think out of 32 games he played 6 times. He covered.
I like the look of him though as well.
He's a fantastic player. I think he also offers fantastic options off the left. I mean, in that situation, our starting team would have Grimaldo and Trippier as fullbacks off the left and the right. And I mean, I love Dan Burn and I rate Matt Target as a worker, but they're not long-term left-back solutions.
Yeah. I was thinking, it's working great in the Premier League at the minute, but if we ever did get to Europe, I think a lot of European wingers would have a field day against Burn at left-back. I really do.
I think they would.
We've been lucky. I love Burn, and I love the idea that it's a back 4, but then it shifts to essentially a back 3 with Trippier having a free role. I really like how that worked, and it's quite rare for that formation to kind of occur like that in the Premier League. And I just want to touch on this before I forget. Liam says Bowen over Maddison any day. I'm actually a huge fan of Bowen.
I love Bowen. I'm gutted that we never got him.
I rated him you know, it was a Hull. Was it Hull where he was at? I'm trying to think where he was at. Hull. Was it
Yeah,
Hull?
Hull.
Yeah. He was great there, and I thought, oh, this is the guy I want. He's English. He's young. He's got so much talent, pace, great finishing. But I do like Maddison too. Now Maddison, I think they're quite similar levels, but I think Maddison in the next few years will maybe go to a even higher level that he's already at now.
He should be in the England squad, and
Yeah.
he's a knob, and I love that. I'd love him in our side because we need those types of players.
Again,
you know exactly what I mean.
Arrogant, like Wilson.
Arrogant, and
super
he would just wind the opposition up, and then he'd do something amazing as well. Hasn't he scored more goals outside the box than any other number 10? In the
De Bruyne,
you know, when
De Bruyne scored the most. But
I'm sorry, I meant comparing him for England, Foden.
Yeah. Well, he's got more goal involvements than any midfielder in playing for England.
Yeah.
More goal involvements, more goals and assists. He is the highest performing player available to England outside of Harry Kane.
Yeah, he needs to be in every squad, and he should be probably starting games for England as well. And this is what annoys a lot of people with Southgate. We've got this, you know, massive pool of attacking the talent. You know, just sitting on the bench, just wasting away. You know,
Bellingham, Rice, and Maddison in a midfield three. Are you mental?
Yeah.
That's
that would be
you need
quality.
to start forward in every game. I like Grealish too, even though he's a knob. You know, I think you've got to play these.
Yeah, he is
Maddison, you know,
he gets fouls.
A front three kind of behind Kane of something like Fawn.
He's now Miggy Almiron now, mate.
Grealish and Maddison. I mean, that if you know, if that was a Spanish team or a German side, they'd be playing week in, week out. You know what I mean? Like, well, international games. You know what I mean? But so just to touch on here, what Kenny's saying. Where do you think we'll finish this season? Bearing in mind we may get the odd injury. Now, we discussed this a few times over the past few weeks. I know I've reassessed my prediction. I was thinking maybe top 10. I thought we could have done more in the transfer window, but I've been proven wrong.
I'm rethinking my 7th. I do think we will have a drop-off. I don't think it's sustainable. But the other teams look really weak as well. I think Liverpool's top 5, top 6 spot is up for grabs. It kind of depends how we sustain our form if we don't get any injuries. But now I truly do believe that 4 or 5 is possible.
Do you know, I think
and if those 5 points that we lost, sorry mate. So Bournemouth we could have won. We should have won, right? And Palace. Isaac should have put that goal away against Bournemouth. Palace we should have won. We're not talking about the goal against Brighton, where Wilson's foot was nowhere near that chap's head. Can't remember who it was, right? But we should have got at least 6. We should have got at least those 6 points, right?
I think a point at Liverpool too.
A point at Liverpool. We definitely could have been sacked. We could. That would put us at the. We're only 5 points behind City, aren't we? That would put us top of the Premier League. We could get 3rd.
Do you know the thing is? I genuinely think we are wrapped in a tea cozy in the top 6 come May. I really do. I think it's done. I always do this, but do you know the thing is as well? So this week on Steve's show, I said we'd win 4-0. Before we played Brentford, I said we'd win 5-1. They all called me crazy. I didn't put bets on it, so I feel like an absolute
the Euro Millions is on Tuesday, Elliot. I just need the numbers for the Euros on Tuesday. Just text them to me, mate.
Text you.
But Paul made a really good point about Southgate looking. He did look gutted, but he also looked pleased that Wilson played well. But if you think about it, when have we been in the position at Newcastle where actually he came when he watched a keeper, a potential centre-back that could sneak into the squad because Maguire's gash, a left-back, which I don't think did enough, to be honest with you, but there's an option there, a midfielder that actually, in friendlies in the future, might sneak into the squad if he carries on his trajectory in Longstaff.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Trippier, right back. Wilson, striker. I mean, there's 6
While
players
you
there.
throw into the mix Brazilian internationals as well.
And you know what? I think it's too late for the World Cup, but I am so made up for Joe. He's an absolute unit, absolute beast. He played fantastically well in tight positions. He carried the ball forward so well, which I don't think Brazil have got a midfielder that is that
He's better
combative.
than Fred.
He'll win the ball back, and then he'll work in a tight space and drive the ball up the field. And he showed that he could score. He picked the right moment in front of the Brazil manager. I just don't think unless there's an injury, that he'll get into the squad. But I really wish he does.
Unfortunately, I think you're right. I don't think they change it. I think going into a World Cup, you do go with some kind of squad consistency. That's why I'm a little bit apprehensive about what Southgate does, because I don't think he chops and changes too much.
Yeah.
I think, it's tough because we love him so much, and he's deservedly so. He's been absolutely immense.
Miles better than Fred.
Yeah, so much better. He does everything you want a destroying midfielder to do significantly better than Fred.
Yeah. Tete and Bruno did have lunch, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
shame they didn't get Joe there to serve on the table.
I know. Yeah, I thought that. This is also a good point from Kenny. If you go off the 2020 results only, that will put us third. Now that's absolutely mental.
Amazing.
We also have the best home record in the calendar year in the
Fortress.
Like, was it 16 wins or something now?
Well, we've lost once in 2022.
That's absolute madness. And this is it. And like, we've got that element of doubt in our minds from 14 years and Ashley. We're sitting fourth, and we're a great side to watch, and we're beating teams pretty easily, and we'll look the part, and we might not get Champions League, but we probably will get Europe. But there's that element of nagging doubt that something's going to go wrong. But then you just have to look at this, like our form in 2022. Up until a few weeks back, had us like fifth. Now Kenny's given us a stat here that we're third. If we can keep this up for another 6 months, we're definitely going to finish somewhere between the top three and the top seven. It sounds utterly ridiculous,
man.
The form has to go like this.
You're so right. You're so right, because I've got that whole Ashley thing in my head. I was before the Villa game, wasn't I? I was like, oh, my spidey sense is tingling a little bit. I'm not too sure about Villa, probably because I live a stone's throw away from Birmingham, so I've got all the freaking Villa fans just giving me pelts all the time.
That's it,
but it'll be interesting to see how that mini preseason goes for us preparation on how we start back in January. The one delicious thought, guys, for us to savour is we always do better in the second half of the season.
Always.
Drink that in.
Always. Do you know,
that's a scary thing for the teams.
Our record signing hasn't played properly for us yet. He's played, twice? You're in a position 3 times. You have the potential to bring Isak and St. Maximan back into a team that have the longest unbeaten record in the Premier League, the best defence in the Premier League, scored over 4 goals in 3 times in our last 6 games. We've only lost to Liverpool at home in 2022, and we're in a position where we are absolutely hammering teams. They're bloodthirsty. It's like no amount of goals they could score is never enough. It's just
after the 3rd goal. Did you see how?
Yeah,
he was forcing. He was like willing them up the pitch for another goal.
14 goal. I don't actually think I've ever seen us with plus 14 goal difference.
I can't even remember it.
What was the 4th goal? I'm having a complete mind blank.
That was Miggy.
Oh,
yeah, of course, Miggy.
I'm so gutted that Wilson. I loved it though. Have you seen Wilson's interview on NUFC TV?
Yeah.
When they said, "How do you feel? 2 goals, Callum?" Got it actually. I didn't get my hat trick.
Yeah, he was raging. When he hit the crossbar, he was absolutely fuming in his action. And he would have had his hat trick if he hadn't been replaced by Wood, and he'd getting that chance at the end. I feel really sorry
for
Wood.
He had the offside as well, didn't he?
Yeah, true. We were right down the other end for that one, and we thought that was an amazing goal, but he must have been quite a bit offside. Still haven't seen that one back, but the flag went up straight away, and there was no VAR, so I'm guessing he was like a good chunk offside. Yeah. But what's Kenny saying here? I heard today the Trippier giving Isak a telling off, but don't know if there's any truth in this.
I heard that Isak and St. Maximin, I don't know where I heard that, had fallen out.
That's
Do you know what? I think it's funny. There's always, at least there aren't golf clubs and and punches and stuff like that being thrown. I think the thing is, there's always going to be like tiffs and stuff, like players get frustrated and angry with each other. But at the end of the day, everything seems hunky dory in that camp at the minute.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah,
and that's why maybe if you're Howe, you're covering positions. Do we need a right back to cover? Yeah. Do we need a defensive midfielder to cover? Yeah. Maddison, yeah. And then maybe not anymore, even though we want DRB. And the reason why I say that is he might not want to mess around with the winning squad right now, upset the dynamic.
Yeah.
A la Asprilla.
Yeah, the next few signs are going to have to be, hand-picked, very specific characteristics, not just on the pitch, but off it too, aren't they?
I'm quite glad we've got the no dickhead policy.
They have Elliot, yeah.
But I think we've also, we've already secured Garan Kual for the future. We've got, the noise coming out of Brazil at the minute, the fact that we're clearly looking at a couple of the boys from there.
There's like three that we're kind of like supposedly very, very close to signing.
Yeah, I heard a rumor about one of them.
You told me, Neil. Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get near Endrick, unfortunately.
No,
just because of PSG and Real Madrid. I'd love it if we did.
He's I would say he's kind of like Neymar's level when he went to Barca, something like that.
That kid is amazing.
Like out of our league. Yeah, very good player.
Unreal. But that Andres Santos looks good. And then that other kid, I can't remember what his name is.
Is it Is one called Gabriel or something like that? It's because we've been
Gabriel. Yeah, Gabriel. Yeah.
Such a short space of time. It's really hard to remember all the Brazilian names. But
no, it is. There's Gabriel. There's a Gabriel guy as well. There's Andre Santos. And there's one who's a defensive midfielder, and there's one who's
one
like
plays slightly one's more of an attacking. Let's just get them all in. Let's build a Brazil B team in the tune.
Talking about Kuyel, did anyone see his assist the other day?
Yeah. Oh my word!
I don't think I've seen that one.
That kid.
Was it good? Good assist.
Great.
Yeah.
He was just outside the 18-yard box on the right hand side, and he's turned the ball really, really well, past the player, and then kind of cut it across the goal, and someone's finished it. He's just really, really good class control. And another element to his game, because everything I've seen is him scoring kind of outside the box. Worldies, and it just shows another level to his game that he's got that other bit of empire at the assists as well. He's a different type of player than what we got.
Yeah, he is. I can't wait to see him in the black and white playing. Hopefully get him a few sub appearances, and then who knows, he might be able to worm his way into the team if he's got the talent that he looks like he has. He's going to be a top signing, man. But let's move on. Yesterday was perfect. I think we've covered most of the points there. It's like everything was just, this is what we live for. We're having, we're top of every stat table. The defense looks impenetrable. Oh, just again, before we move on, I think it's only right to mention Sharon Botman, who, they are literally a brick wall. I can't remember, and obviously we're biased, but I can't remember two centre-backs, not just for Newcastle United, but, just in general, partnerships and pairings that complement each other so well.
Yeah.
Cher used to get berated for apparently being rash, and maybe he was a bit rash when we first signed him, and he was playing under Bruce for a lot of those years, but he looks like Mr. Cool next to Botman. Cher's Botman seems to bring Cher to the level where we thought Cher would be, and I think that's down to Botman. Giving him just follow me, and this is we'll do it like this, and they're both just so cool and calm.
They're imperious. It's amazing.
They are. They're imperious, Neil. They never seem to flap. They don't miss a header. They both bring the ball out. Cher brings his more out, with his kind of driving runs. Botman tends to do his line breaking passes.
So good. Or lay off to Burn for Burn.
Yeah,
it's just
we've got
crazy.
two ball playing centre backs that basically one's pinging at one side of the pitch, one's pinging at the other. They both can defend, so they're not just show ponies doing passing, showing off their passing range.
This time last year,
as well, though, isn't it?
This time last year, no one could pass. If you think of our back four this time last year, they were a ball playing back four. They couldn't. You weren't confident. If the ball came to Lascelles, You know, he did well yesterday when he came on as well.
Yeah.
And great leadership from Trips to run across straight away and put his armband on. I mean, that's fantastic.
Class.
Yeah, really nice touch. That really nice touch. Yeah, very nice.
They couldn't play the ball. You know, you wouldn't be confident that they could play the ball out from the back. And now you've got 4 players in defence that can really, and you know, they're really intelligent the way that they try and break the lines. They're on the same level. They're in sync. I know it sounds stupid, but they're smart enough to head the ball back rather than get themselves in trouble to Pope. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, Ben, I think it's the last 2 home games, Pope hasn't had to make a save.
He hasn't made a save.
Like, as in, he hasn't had a shot on target.
That's the stat to come out today. That in the last 2 home games, Pope has not made a single save. Is that right?
That's
absolutely mental.
Like,
it's mad.
Yeah, he's not made a save.
Yeah, he's having a kip, wasn't he? You were there at the match, Ben. He was having a kip, wasn't he? Second half.
Yeah, he was asleep. They had to give him they woke him up at full time. He said, "Come on, we've got to go back in."
Do you know? I think something that went astray. For some reason, the fans didn't pick up on it. He posted on his Instagram, and he basically just ended up. He put like a photo of the team, or like just a couple of photos, and then the caption was "Tricky Mags."
Tricky Mags.
It's like, yes, he's just.
They're loving it, aren't they?
They're just so. They're such.
It started with Willicks up the Maggies, and now everyone's, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Just a nice comment here from Mark Atkinson. Really intelligent, analytical observations. Thanks, guys. Yeah, this is what we try to do. Try to bring something a bit different, a bit more in depth than maybe other shows, and really get into the tactical side of it. But our main man, Joe, who's also very good at this stuff, he can't be with us tonight, but
he's fantastic.
Great result today, though, for him.
Yeah.
So Joe coaches a local,
I think he said 5-2.
Women's team.
Hopefully he won 5-2. Was he playing away or at home?
Yeah, it was away at Brighton.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think.
He's an amazing guy.
That man is my dad.
Magnus, nice. We want number 6.
This guy,
I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out
How you
to
doing?
Magnus.
Good to meet you.
The
man, the myth, the legend. Which number 6 would you like, Magnus?
Let us know.
Because there's a few out there, and I'd be interested to see if you fancy Alvarez or if you fancy someone
Kenny's
else.
agreeing there. It could upset the balance of the team. That's what we were saying. The next 2 signings are going to be really important. I can't wait for January. We're going to start getting some more transfer central shows knocked out.
I am feeling that. I am feeling Diaby may upset the fans of the team.
Do you know the thing is as well, though? I think I don't know whether you feel it. We were all apprehensive in the summer. We're not going into January needing to buy to survive. We're purely going into January to improve and push higher up than we already are.
Agreed.
And it's such a good feeling because relegation hasn't even crossed my mind. No. We're at what? 24
we're nearly safe, aren't we?
24 points
16 points off or something.
You could see it even after the first few games of the season when we maybe we're still getting the draws and that, but you could see the way we're playing. Like we were watching them thinking, there's no way this is going to be a relegation season, and you knew that after like a couple of games, and obviously that's been proven. We're going only one way, guys, and that's upwards.
We're on track for 72 points this season.
Gosh, can you imagine?
That's crazy.
When's the last time we got 72 points, guys?
I don't think we've ever got 72 points.
So I think I read a stat recently that when we've been in this position, when we've been 4th, at this time, after this many games,
finished in the top 6.
We've either finished 3rd or 3rd, 2nd, or
5th
in the top 6 or 5th. Yeah.
So it was we finished 2nd twice, 3rd once, 5th once.
Can you imagine?
I honestly, oh my God, if we finish 2nd,
and I'm still trying to just temper it with a long way to go. All those old attitudes. We're still going to see what happens after the World Cup, but I'm hoping.
Isn't it fun that we can actually talk about stuff like this?
We could be playing Champions League.
We're kind of like, we're still kind of half joking because I think we know, especially this season, in our hearts that we're going to finish like probably below 2nd, below 3rd. But isn't it nice? Isn't it nice to actually have a sensible conversation about it? And we're not fully 100% joking. We're having a laugh about it, but we're not like ruling it out.
It's
You know
more
what I
just,
mean?
it's more we're laughing because we're
It's
like,
madness.
imagine if that actually happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because
And
it's
they're all taking it seriously.
Uh.
You know, the only one who's got a little bit of class about it is Pep. Everyone else
Pep.
is salty as hell. Pep
Yeah,
is very
Conte,
classy and he's
though.
like the genuine contenders. Oh, Conte was alright as well.
Yeah,
a little bit
Conte was
salty about
okay.
his.
I think,
But
yeah,
I think I think there's problems there at Spurs. I really do.
yeah.
I know they won, but I think there's problems there.
Do you know, I was gutted when they scored their winner yesterday. Yeah.
So if it was
I
a
know,
draw,
but we were
would have been
gutted that we
second.
weren't
Yeah.
third.
If it was a draw, yeah, we would have been third.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous.
92nd minute. Right.
Yeah.
We were checking out Burnley's fixtures and their results last year, thinking, God, I hope they lose, so we stay where we are at the relegation zone. And now we're like, God damn it, Spurs scored a last-minute equaliser,
Do you know,
so we don't get third.
This is it. This is where we should be, man. And you know, it's like no team kind of deserves to be anywhere unless it's on merit. But we do deserve to be here on merit, you know, and that's the thing. It's not a fluke. It's not luck. Like, we're playing really well, man. And I think the dark years under Ashley, it's really made us like be grateful for this. Like, we're really like, we never take it for granted. Like, you know, even in 10 years' time, if we're still finishing in these kind of high positions, which hopefully we are, you know, challenging for silverware, I don't ever want us to get like, and I don't think we will, but like complacent as a fan base and just for it to become the norm. I honestly feel like it would be different up here. I feel like we would be humble about it. The stadium would always be packed. We wouldn't go through spells where, you know, cup games aren't full, you know, things like that. So I feel like, I don't know if that's happened at other teams. Like, I know Man City's had their kind of, you know, things thrown at them in the past. Like, and I've seen it where cup games, the ground's been nowhere near full. I don't think that'll happen up here. And that's what I'm excited about. You know, I feel like we've kind of, we've done our time through the dark ages. And now we're ready for what's coming next, man. The next step, the new era.
So a swing is not a roundabout, but a lot of fun anyway. So we're gonna enjoy ourselves, I reckon.
Yeah, we are.
We might still want to know what number 6 Magnus thinks we should.
Oh yeah, you never got back.
Text him. I've been like, where have you gone?
Well, if he doesn't reply now, we'll talk about it on the next show. What's Magnus's number 6? But yeah, nice one from Louis here. It's going to be a great few years ahead. Really hope it is, Louis, and I really think it is. And I think we're all on the same page. And you know, people are going to games and having fun. This is what it's about, man. You know, like marching through the streets with chants and, you know, arms around each other, camaraderie, having fun with people that you don't know, and your friends and family having a pint afterwards, and you're talking about the game rather than how much you want Ashley out. You know, this is it. This is what we live for. Ambition and hope equals success, and you can add a big dollop of cash in there too, equals success. But you know, it's we needed it after all these years of a shoestring budget. Let's be honest. It's not as if we were spending like a normal Premier League club over the last decade. We haven't really spent a penny. He left the club with a 0 net spend over his 14-year period. That's actually mental. Like, if anyone said anything about the money, that would be my argument to say, okay, we've spent a bit of money, but for 14 years we had a 0 net spend for a Premier League club. That's absolutely bonkers. It's crazy.
I had the same conversation. So I've been on a group, I mentioned it last week, on Facebook for the years, so the last 10, 15 years. There's all Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool fans. And I've just sat there quietly interacting with them, not causing any trouble because I had nothing to say. And I didn't shout about anything. And it is a very much only singing when you're winning scenario, and I'll take that. So now I've got something to talk about. And it's all your money. It's Arsenal fans talk to me. Oh, you spent all this money, blah, 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 blah. And I said, yeah, I granted we have spent 200 million over the last couple of windows, but let's go back the last 14 years and let's look at your net spend over the last 14 years. Let's look at our net spend over the last 14 years. I think you'll find it's considerably different. But you'll probably find that you've spent close to $500 million and we've spent a lot less.
Very good point, Neil. That's the point we're making, isn't it? Sorry, Elliot, go on.
No, it's no problem. So I've got two things. Firstly, my dad texted me back, so I'll say that after. But so we've got. I saw the whole thing. Our back line was £5 million worth less than Harry Maguire. Our midfield 3 was £6 or £7 million less than Casemiro. and our front three was again about £10 million less than Anthony. And you're in a position where we've got 11 players for the price of 3 that Man United have, one of which literally does not have 2 legs that work. And Casemiro's a fantastic player, obviously, and Anthony could be something special. But at the end of the day, we're higher up in the league with Man United with a better goal difference and a better defence for a fraction of the price.
Because it's a team, it's not individuals, it's a team, and that's what makes it so much fun. And drum roll.
This shocked me. All right, I'm questioning my own mind.
Okay.
So his response: I actually think it should be a how coached Sumari. Hate me later.
Who's that from Leicester?
Yeah, the guy that we wanted to sign and declined us.
Yeah, we put in the bid, didn't we? It was it 35 million or something?
He got accepted and he said no.
Yeah,
but he was a good player though before he came to Leicester.
Yeah,
he was. You know what?
He was.
Okay.
There was a rumor that it all
not
went
Marino, sorry.
I think ESM had him on the video chat on WhatsApp or something.
He did.
And he give him the grand tour of the spectacular training ground what we have.
It's the wheelie bins.
State of the art
over there.
It's improved somewhat in the last few weeks, which we almost at completion with this expansion.
I can't wait to see it.
I'm excited for that.
Some work done to it, but apparently when he did this, he showed him it, and he was just like, "Ooh, nah, not for me. No, thanks." Someone showed him Leicester's, and he was like, "Yeah, that's more like it." State of the art.
Leicester's is beautiful.
Yeah, Leicester's, to me, that's the best one in the country. I know Liverpool's new one's pretty good. But the Leicester one, Man City too. Sorry, Elliot.
How's that?
We'll probably pick him up quite cheap as well.
It's about the manager, not just the training ground. But right, guys. Listen, great show, man. We've done a great hour there. Let you get back to enjoying your weekend. Listen, thanks everybody for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show tonight. The three of us hope we kept you entertained. If you like the content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is what we do. We try and bring you a bit of analysis with a light-hearted smile and a laugh along the way as well. And it's just with something we really enjoy. We're going to keep these shows going. I know we all buzz off them, and they're always better when we're winning. We did a few draws earlier in the season when we started these off, and it was we enjoyed them, but we much prefer it when we're winning like we are now. Things are really clicking, and we're winning every week. So come on, Eddie.
And thanks for your comments, guys.
Thanks for the comments, guys. I had some nice comments tonight. As Kenny just saying, great stuff, lads.
Cheers,
and we need you guys to support us. So join the community, subscribe to the channel, and hope we keep you entertained week in, week out. Got a big guest on the show tomorrow night, live show. So I'll keep that on the wraps for now. I'll put the promo out tomorrow. Keep the tension building a little bit more. And we'll see where we are. We've got some Transfer Central shows coming up as we approach December. Any links and rumors we get, I was thinking maybe we'll do like a live one of them guys and get you guys on and Joe, and we can discuss them because I think that would be a good thing to do rather than just me talking. It'd be nice to get other people's input on the transfers and who we can bring in and any rumors or whispers what we've heard. I know Neil, you hear some, and I've always got my ear to the ground. Couple of cheeky contacts. But yeah, man. Right, listen, guys, great show. Hope everyone's enjoyed it, and all the best. Southampton next week. It's going to be without Big Joe, so that's going to be a blow. But I still think we'll win. So thanks, guys. All the best.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween. No horror show for the tune this year. Right. Cheers, guys. Enjoy yourself. See you next week.
Guys.
Bye.